Okay,
Hi all, and welcome to the Tina Cloud Sprint Review in Retro 67 and the Sprint Forecast 68. First, we'll be going through the Sprint Review in Retro. So for our sprint goal, we had understanding the media management process. So this was assigned to myself, and I have felt like I have a good understanding of the media management process to get started on working on the performance improvements.
created some new documentation that we're going to add to the repository. So a lot of good
Yeah,
improvements coming.
yeah. So for Tina Cloud, we have 55 hours built to myself, Matt, and Josh. For TinaCMS, we have 14 hours built to Matt. For our sprint backlog, key things to note was the media manager changed background color, which I'll get Matt to speak to.
Yeah, so essentially in the media manager, if you had an image with a transparent background, you couldn't see it. Because it was rendering you may not be able to see it because it was being rendered onto just straight up onto the screen. So if you had this SSW logo being rendered onto the background, you may be able to see a bit of the white, and that's about it. But if it was onto a white background, you wouldn't see that information. So we've made a few improvements to the media manager. Now all the images have a checkerboard background. So if you do have a transparent PNG in front of it, makes it easier to see what it is. We're also including the file name at the bottom of each image that wasn't there before. So if you had two different versions, like a GIF and a PNG, it was hard to know which one you were selecting until you actually selected it. And also, when you select an image, it has a little bit of a highlight around it now. So some little quality of life improvements into the media manager, which are well overdue.
Cheers, Matt. Um, so we have our Discord chat that I'll get Isaac to speak about.
Yep, give me a second to take over the screenshot. Yeah, so in terms of the Discord, we've had quite a few ask for helps. There's this one, someone's having a technical problem setting up their dynamic routing, and Josh is trying to help them out with that. But it's pretty tricky without a um, access to their repo or more of the code. And there's some other questions that Eli's going through. So I don't know if you want to take it back for that, Eli, um, to walk through a couple of
Um,
these.
yeah, I'll just speak to it on your screen.
Yeah, so there's this
Oh
first
yeah,
one.
it's just this guy here was having an issue with running the TinaCMS on through Vercel, and he looks like he was using the Astro TinaCMS for his framework. So I was just going to have a look and see what why he was experiencing these issues, and then I'll be getting back to him on that. Gonna
Should
read.
should we have hash tags for the different front ends, like one for Astro, one for like Angular, React,
We
next.js?
we do have
There is a
we do
pill
have
there,
some of
you
those
can
tags,
see.
and we also have a limit in terms of the number of tags we're allowed to have.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
I'm gonna um I'll, yeah, I'll speak to this one as well. Oh yeah, this was just me clarifying. Yeah, there's not much else to really speak about, any outstanding issues.
Right,
So I'll reshare my screen,
cool.
and I'll also get you to speak about
Oh,
the
okay.
bug failed deployment and missing callback in Tina Cloud Quick Start.
Yeah, no worries.
Isaac?
I'll steal that one back.
Yep.
So it's pretty good. Josh is starting to work on the Tina Cloud side of things a little bit to make some improvements that are relevant to Tina Docs. So one way that it's really convenient to deploy a Tina project is with this quick start. So you can just instantly create and deploy a Tina app with one of these buttons. But you can see here the visuals aren't great. There's these buttons that aren't in alignment, and these screenshots are using the old Tina editor, for example. So some of those improvements assuming he'll make. But the big one is when you do create and deploy, it tries to deploy something onto Vercel, and the deployment always fails first, and then you need to do some extra steps to get it working, and that's because it actually tries to deploy before the Tina Cloud project is set up, so it can't populate the environment variables with all of the things the Tina Cloud project usually gives to you. So he'll need to swap around the order of events so that you have your Tina Cloud project before this deployment step happens. But yeah, you can see here, I tried to do it just a second ago and I got this error. So that's kind of a brief on what Josh will be doing when he's in,
Right.
because he's not here today.
There's there's an old story that when Google, Gmail came out, it was the fastest website on the planet, and they later told everybody why, because when you typed in your email address, Adam Kogan at SSW, before you'd even typed in your password or it was done any authentication, it started loading up in memory Adam Kogan's mailbox, right? So he went and got my mail, loaded up all the stuff. So as soon as you logged in, everything was already cached. And and say the images in your email just were instant. And you wondered, how the hell do they make a site so fast? Well, they'd already pre-cached it. So I don't know if there's lessons there, but if we could, while it's populating that other thing, yeah, that would be awesome if there were anything we could do.
Yeah, that's the plan. We're so that page was actually the new project page, not the quick start. There's two different ways to set up projects, but essentially, we're just going to reorder the sequence of events so that there's fewer, hopefully zero post deployment steps that you have to make in order for it to work. The only thing we're worried about is so there's a few environment variables that need to be set on inside the application so it can build and deploy correctly. And then after has been deployed, the URL needs to be put back into Tina Cloud for CORS support to work. So the the admin interface works successfully. And that's the only bit that we don't have a plan for just yet, but we're trying to get those environment variables set up first. The other thing that we're going to try to do as part of that is just make it a little bit more platform agnostic. So you can take, you can select the template, and then from there you can say, hey, I want to deploy to Vercel, I want to deploy to GitHub Pages, I want to deploy to this. So we open up some doors that way as well.
Okay, that's good. I'll just give you one more idea. When you were creating back in the day when you were creating a Azure DevOps project, which was quite slow, I think it would take a few minutes. What they decided to do was create, 10 ahead all the time, so that when you actually created one, you weren't creating one, you were just renaming one of the temporary ones.
You're just finding one, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if that would be relevant here where you already had these created and you just renamed it.
No, unfortunately not.
Okay.
But and there's a few different ways to optimize those processes. So
all right. Okay.
Cool. Taking the screen back. So continuing on with the sprint burn down and dashboard, we have 12 efforts remaining and 6 completed. Code coverage not yet logged. Production deployments, 2 deployments for Tina Cloud and 0 releases for TinaCMS. Application health overview timeline. We have seen on the Identity API, HTTP 500s remained constant at 6, and the Content API, HTTP 500s increased from 31 to 54. So our accounts created increased from 183 to 206. Trend of organizations created over the last 30 days remains quite constant. Sign up to commit conversions. Overall conversions decreased from 14.2 to 13.6, which actually should be Unique cloners of the Tina Barebone starter GitHub repository over the last 2 weeks decreased from 76 to 65. Unique cloners of the Tina Cloud starter GitHub repository over the last 2 weeks decreased from 113 to 108. And unique cloners of the Tina self-hosted demo GitHub repository over the last 2 weeks increased from 37 to 43. TinaCMS package downloads increased from 16,871 to 22,701.
That's good.
State of our epics, we have seen an increase from 57 to 61% on the improved media management. For our experimental work, we have been doing a spike on improving the medium branching and indexing. So this was done by myself. It's quite. Just gonna put the text up a bit. Yeah. So for this, I investigated where we could introduce some performance improvements on the media management, and I seen that we were able to add some indexing as a part of that process to improve query performance on the assets. And I found some inconsistencies within our deleting process. So I've been cleaning that up as well, and I've added I've been working on some documentation that I will be adding within our project so that future developers will be able to pick up the process a bit easier. So AI tools, myself, I was using Cursor ChatGPT, Matt was using Copilot Yakshaver ChatGPT, and Isaac was using Yakshaver Cursor and ChatGPT. So Copilot stats, I'll get that from you, Adam, after the meeting. Sprint retrospective, what went well? Matt?
Yeah, so there's definitely more activity in the Discord server with Josh and Eli chiming in on a few different things.
For myself, I've seen that we got work started on the media management, which is great. Matt's already made some great improvements already with his background improvements on the media. What didn't go so well, Matt?
It's the since everyone's on client work, Eli's by himself for the most part. So just calling that out.
And improvements to be made for the next sprint, Matt?
I was just noticing on Discord use, and I guess they should go into the support doc in terms of how to do Discord support. But instead of hitting, reply and reply to a message and then posting a reply, you start a thread instead. That way, it's easier to find what the eventual answer is. You don't need to work from the last message back. Because generally when people see the first message, it's like, hey, I got a problem. They can click on the thread and see the whole conversation in one hit instead of trying to see it all, piecemealed with everyone else's conversations.
Cool. All right, moving on to the forecast. So our sprint goal for this forecast will be generate a plan on how to improve media management performance. So that will be done by myself. And our backlog items will be continuing on the spike, improving the media management, branching and indexing. Josh will be continuing work on the failed deployment and missing callback on Tina Cloud Quick Start, and we will be continuing on to monitor the Discord chat.
Okay. Will there be any deployments in the next sprint? Like, will we see any of the changes deployed?
Yeah, look, hopefully, I don't want to ship just one little change. I want to have a couple of things in there because we need to go through some verifications before we release things. But yeah, the plan is always to ship at least once a sprint. But with reduced capacity, it's a little harder to do that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. Well, I see there's a spike there. Is Eli going after a hairy one first, or is he going after lots of easy ones?
Well, the spike is pretty much was for him to plan out the next piece of work, but essentially, if we can, what's going to come out of there is our method of indexing the media instead. So as opposed to going to S3 and listing out the bucket contents every request, we have our own little index of that, and then have some performance improvements on the CMS editor when looking through the media as a result of that. So that's at least that would be the first thing off the rank.
Right. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Eli, I've sent you the images. Do you want to throw them into the chat now? Into the email, the review email.
Sorry, am I able to do it after, just because I'm on
Sure.
one screen?
Sure. No problems. Yeah.
Yep, cool. So this sprint review retro and forecast will be uploaded to the TinaCMS YouTube channel under the Tina Cloud playlist. So thank you all for listening in. Cheers.
Okay. Cheers.
Thank you, Eli.
Thanks, Eli.